Dave Ryan.
Mark Robinson.
We are here to say happy birthday to the old girl.
This is that game based off Uncharted, right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
The Tomb Raider.
The 20th anniversary of Tomb Raider.
Oh, and who could forget? Who could forget?
Tell me, what's your experience with the Tomb Raider series?
I seem to because I got on record before on different streams and on the podcast. I was saying I didn't have a PS1 until like right before I got a PS2. So the PS1 is generally speaking a bit of a black hole in my video game playing, but I have played a bits of Tomb Raider, the original, on a friend who lives around the corner from where we are now.
Yeah.
On his PS1, played a bit of it, enjoyed it. I remember at the time thinking, well, this camera can get tiff up.
I quickly played a little bit this earlier to kind of reacclimatise myself, and boy, the camera is, one could say, fixated on Lara's arse.
Yeah. Which is weird because, like, I would have been, so this game's 20 years old, so I would have been 7 when this came out. And so probably maybe close to 8 by the time I played it.
Yeah.
I could tell that the camera was fixated on her ass. Couldn't for the life of me figure out why that would be a thing.
Yeah.
That, then you start noticing, like, you remember that was during that weird time where she became like a polygonal sex symbol.
Yep,
and was
I
like
remember.
in next to no clothing on PlayStation magazines, and it's like, what?
Yep. Even though
which is like, it's particularly harrowing when you look back now and see the things computer graphics can render and realize that, like, she looks nothing like a human being.
No.
Really.
No,
specifically in terms of proportions.
She looks like there's a couple of traffic cones protruding from her chest, with a couple of sticks for legs.
Like, if an actual human being that was proportioned like her walked down the street, I would say, oh god, what happened and how can we fix it?
By the way, these cutscenes.
Yeah, they're quite something.
Yeah.
It's not quite the the Rise of the Tomb Raider, which was one of my favorite games of last year, had an opening scene in a similar setting, and it's safe to say that that one was significantly cooler and more action packed.
What? Wow. Did they sneeze on him or something? That was a quick death there for Pablo. So I came along. I remember my mum actually and one of her friends was playing the third installment of the series, where the series started to take a sort of steep decline until it was taken over.
Or Angel of Darkness.
Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, that was my introduction really, and I didn't really kind of start looking at it again until my girlfriend at the time, who was a massive Tomb Raider fan. She got I think it was Anniversary of Legends, one of them that was kind of like a remake of the original. And sort of fixed a couple of problems, because straight away, going back to the original Tomb Raider, Lara doesn't control with much grace and fidelity.
No, this is true.
So she runs, but like if you want to turn, you kind of have to stop, and then she does this sort of penguin waddle to kind of rotate.
As all human beings do.
Yeah. Also, her jumping, it can be best described as floaty. What else we got? Oh, she can sidestep. Do a little side
It's
shuffle.
strange to look back at, like, you want to talk about games that came out 20 years ago. Like, if you look at the N64's closest parallel of Mario 64, and God, Mario still controls fantastically.
Yeah.
Like, graphically the game doesn't hold up as much. Not a lot from this era, it really does. But in terms of, like, I don't know if you disagree, and feel free to venture your thoughts if so, but I think that, like, still to this day, Super Mario 64 is unbelievably playable.
Oh no, it's as playable as it was back then.
Like, the only thing that is in the kind of the negatives column in terms of the playability of Super Mario 64 is if you weren't raised on that Trident controller for the N64. Which I think, like, if we divorce our romance for that console away, is a fucking hideous controller design.
Yeah, but no, it's
like I love that controller, but it is 100% down to the fact it was the console I picked, and had to brainwash myself into thinking it was a brilliant controller design.
I am still fine with that controller.
I much prefer, if you want to talk about Nintendo ones, I think the one that's hideously underrated by some people is the GameCube one.
Yeah, the GameCube.
I love the form factor of the GameCube.
Sure.
It actually, especially when you switch over from the Trident one, like it feels better in your hands, and there's a bit more weight to it as well.
Boy,
and I did nearly rub my palm off on any games on the GameCube because they have those nice cushiony joysticks.
Sorry, I am really trying to concentrate on this camera, which is
box.
Okay, so I need to. So you have to kind of jump and then press the direction you want to go. There we go. Jesus Christ, that was harder than it needed to be. But yeah, like over the last couple of years, there's been a resurgence from young Lara.
Yeah, the Tomb Raider game that came out, it's been 3 years ago now.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so the Tomb Raider game that came out 3 years ago, I think was. I don't think it's great. I think it, relative to the other one, like the other relatively recent Tomb Raider games, I think it's brilliant. It was a massive step forward. I think it was good, and it did some of the work that needed to be done to reclaim Lara from both the past and the over-sexualization, which we've already kind of tipped on here. But I think as a game, it played like a reskinned average Uncharted game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think Rise of the Tomb Raider is the one that, like, that is... I genuinely think a 9.5 out of 10. That's how good it is.
Wow.
Like, it's genuinely, like, if I had a bit more time with it, I would have really put up a fight for it getting in maybe the top 5 in Game of the Year last year. I don't know where it settled in the end. I think it got eliminated early because I was only about halfway through it. But fuck, that game is really good, and like it was like the best of Uncharted mixed with some of the best of Zelda in terms of the kind of the tomb designs.
Yeah, it's a game
dungeon. That's the word.
I plan to kind of come back to. And actually, this is a thing
fairness,
as well.
I have it, and there's an Xbox One in front of us.
Yeah, but I have a PS4, and
yeah, but there's an Xbox One like literally right on the floor there.
There's true. This is true. But,
so you are more than welcome. The disc is around here somewhere. Because it's one of the ones that like I actually will replay at some stage. I haven't finished the Baba Yaga DLC either, which is cool because that adds like a weird horror element to an already excellent game.
Yeah, I remember watching some of that and wondering what the fuck was going on.
And if you, I'll tell you what, if you want to make a game even more appealing to me, you throw in some of them horror elements.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is like these early Tomb Raider games. There's very much that Legend of Zelda kind of puzzle elements.
Oh yeah, well I always think like any game that has some sort of puzzle-based dungeon in it owes itself to Zelda in some way.
Yeah.
And I think it's trying to bow to two masters here because it's trying to have the puzzle element of a Zelda dungeon, but also the kind of platforming of a Mario.
I don't think it's trying to do that.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, it's trying to be a platformer as well.
Sure.
And...
well, obviously, it was, in the infancy of 3D, and, a lot of games at this time hadn't quite mastered the how to do it, and how to do it well. But I imagine for 1996 that people would have been blown away by this, and young adolescent teenage men would have been, enjoying it for other reasons.
Have you ever gotten that like understood that mentality of like the adolescents crushing on the video game characters?
Well, I mean, if you
me, I've always had the cognitive dissonance of this is a fucking CGI, and in some cases, particularly this one, a poorly designed CGI person.
Well, I mean, you can, if you want to expand onto like hentai as well, and you like.
I don't ever want to expand hentai.
No.
I've gone quite fine to leave hentai where it is, which is far away.
Yeah. But maybe not hentai, not the extreme, but like anime and the kind of visual designs they come up
Yeah,
with.
look,
for stuff
we
like
live
that.
in a world where you could use a much more Western and less kind of inherently creepy example of fucking Marge Simpson did Playboy.
Yeah, she did.
And people on Twitter were having a great time with it. And I was
Sure.
like, this is fucking...
This
No, I'm sorry.
Fucking camera, by the way.
Yeah.
So
This is the abiding memory that I have, that even in, would have been probably 1997, like I said, by the time I played this. Even back then, I was like, what the fuck is going on with this camera?
it's kind of having a fit as much as our cat.
And it's
currently
not, is
as
it
well.
like, it's...
Nope,
you
come down
can't
here.
control the camera here.
No, I have no control over it. Other than I can zoom in a little bit, but that's
Because
no use.
it's interesting to watch. Like I keep coming back to Super Mario 64, and it's interesting to watch that, like, the two different approaches to controlling a camera in 3D space for these kind of games.
Yeah.
And it's like, in this, it's very much, we think we know where the camera should be based on where you are in the room, so that's why the game is controlling the camera. Whereas in Mario 64, it was like, fuck it, you figure it out.
Yeah.
And handing the controls over to you, which, as it turns out, was funnily enough, the more enduring concept.
Well, you have to hope for as well, because sometimes the camera does sort of wildly oscillate one way to left or right, and you just have to hope that you hold straight. And
Those are some ropes, my friend.
yeah, all right. But you know, these early Tomb Raider games, they do have their place in time. You know.
Oh yeah.
Um,
There's certainly a charm. None of them are in the book club yet, are they?
no, we've yet to do a Tomb Raider game.
That's interesting.
But I will say definitely that these games have not particularly aged gracefully.
No.
Seriously, what the
Tell
fuck
you
is
what,
up with our cat?
I'm going to leave that cat in a dungeon myself.
We
Crying
should-
like we never fed him. I literally fed him when you were turning on the microphone.
Yeah. Like, over the span of the last 6 months, there are going to be people thinking that we, neglect our cat or something. That's not the case. He is just that needy.
But it's interesting, like,
The cat's not that interesting.
no. It's interesting, like we mentioned Uncharted, obviously, and this game, this series of games, obviously, has a huge influence on Uncharted. Like, Uncharted is what you get if Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones have a baby. And very much, I suppose, Indiana Jones itself is an inspiration for the concept of, the all-action archaeology kind of adventure. But it's funny that even though these games may not have aged well, the thing it inspired, Uncharted, is now considered one of the most, like, critically acclaimed franchises that Sony has.
Yeah. I can't remember what I'm meant to do with this.
And much as these early games influenced the early Uncharted games, the early Uncharted games then influenced the rebooted Tomb Raider series. It's a soft reboot, but it's a reboot nonetheless.
No, it's definitely a thing. But just kind of even, like, architecturally, what's going on here, like, for the PlayStation at the time, because at this time we would have had the original Quake, and, like, from the kind of PC Master Race, this is nothing new to them. They would have had these kind of wide open 3D environments, but for the consoles at the time, and for the PlayStation,
it was still a burgeoning concept.
Yeah, obviously, even again, we can bring up Mario 64, because Mario 64 would have been one of the early 3D games, and they had the big wide open spaces, because Ocarina of Time wouldn't be for another 2 years yet. Yeah. So for, like, 1996, this is going to be blowing people's fragile little minds.
Yeah. And this was the one that, like, I had my Super Mario 64, my...
Oh, hello.
Whew. God, early PlayStation really had a thing about, like, dogs jumping out of nowhere and surprising you, didn't it?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of that original Resident Evil footage. But yeah, Lara Croft, lover to all animals. Well, the music has picked up, which leads me to believe there's at least something or someone going on over here.
It's interesting to... Like, we were talking about the over-sexualization of the character.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing to talk about with Tomb Raider. In 20 years, the real evolution of the character. Like, she really doesn't have much of a character at all early on. Like, she's sassy and she's British.
Yeah. Which,
and
I mean, like...
she's got big cans. Like, that's basically all the things Eidos wanted you to know about this character.
Well, like, being British was actually kind of a thing that people were proud of in the 90s, because, you know, like Britpop was a thing, and how the fuck do I... How do I pick this up? There we go. And to be fair, like, Tomb Raider, because Tomb Raider was one, or Lara Croft was like one of the big icons of the original PlayStation. But on top of that, she was...
Her and Crash.
Yeah. But she was British. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
You know, Eidos Interactive, Core Design, sorry, were British. And so, you know, she was at the forefront of a lot of that and especially with the likes of Spice Girls as well. Like,
it's weird to think as well that she would have been the most realistic brand mascot.
yeah.
Because obviously Mario is incredibly cartoony, and then you've got a bandicoot and a hedgehog.
Yeah. But you know, with the likes of Spice Girls at the time as well, you know, girl power was a thing. But yeah, obviously she has massive tits, and
yeah, this I don't think this was striking the girl power chord really that prominently.
I think,
except for the fact that it was a girl in a thing. But you know, if it was a girl power thing,
like, she's still got a little bit of attitude going on, and
yeah,
you know, this. Oh shit.
I have a feeling the reason they may have gone with a female protagonist in this may not have been to have a strong feminist icon.
By no means is it perfect.
Like, any girl power here is purely coincidental, I think. Like, I think she's definitely now is a much better role model for a kind of female protagonist.
Well, she's actually been fleshed out as a character.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I want to hit on to. Like, she is basically just like a walking pair of polygonal tits in these early games.
How dare you take
But
that
that's back. That's just the way she was treated by the kind of publicity around the games and the increasingly sleazy generation of the 90s.
Yeah.
But in the new games, she's like...
She's a really mom.
She's a I wouldn't say, like, she's not fully there in terms of like a hugely rendered character, but she's got an interesting backstory now. The voice acting and motion capture on her character is really good, and on top of that as well, like, she's super fucked up and broken as a person. You know, there is depth.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, you fucking do what I want you to do.
That's the one thing that I can't take away from the soft reboot, the first one, that I don't think is a great game, but it's a good game, is that it really, the characterization of Lara actually exists, and she goes through some... Have you played that first one?
A little bit.
Like, she goes through some super horrifying shit in that.
Like, yeah, the first 10 minutes of the game is proper rough, and then it doesn't get any better after that.
No, it really doesn't. It's very, very bleak.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, like, Rise of the Tomb Raider is a bed of roses either, but it was a real hard reset for everything you thought about that character.
Yeah.
And as well, you'll note, if you put the character of Lara, you know, side by side each game in chronological order, you'll notice they have made certain assets of hers less cartoonishly disproportionate.
Yeah, and
she just looks like a normal kind of athletic built woman.
I remember reading,
you know, as she would be if she was an all action adventure archaeologist.
I remember reading a tweet not too long ago that people claiming that, like, sales of these last couple of Tomb Raider games have declined just because, you know, they decided to make her less sexualized and all this other bollocks, and, you know, all that. Oh my god, these... I'm not trying to be shit at this.
And yet here we are.
Yeah, I'm not exactly doing this first game a decent portrayal by any means.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of respect for the things this game was trying early on in the 3D era. These first three games, and I certainly think, I think Tomb Raider 2 was proper good, wasn't it? People thought it was.
Out of that original trilogy, it's like
That's the one, isn't
yeah,
it? Yeah. I think that's the one I spent the most time with of the original three. So I remember liking that a lot at the time.
Why would you not jump forward?
Does it want you to do that cartwheel jump over again?
No, like you can't. Like there, I just jump forward. But here's the thing. Okay,
How about that?
so run forward. Like for some
Go
reason.
the other there.
Hmm.
Just give me a look over the other side. Can you go up there? Left. Oh, there you go.
Okay, maybe I'll just do that.
Yeah.
But there's like such a fucking delay.
Oh, it's on a timer.
Yeah, that's the thing.
See.
Yeah.
See, I've been just waxing lyrical without necessarily realizing what you've been doing.
I'm trying to not waste people's time here, and yet again here we are. But yeah, and I remember Tomb Raider 2 was the one that kind of, I think it, if I remember, there was a little bit more sort of choice in terms of where you wanted to start first.
There was more voice in it, wasn't there, as well?
Yeah, sure, that was a thing that happened. Jesus Christ. The greatest puzzle man ever tried to solve. Jumping a wall. And then, yeah, like, during the sort of 2000s, mid-2000s, like, there was just one after another that people were like, yeah, this is the new Lara Croft, this is the new kind of, this is it revitalized, if you will. There was Underworld, Legends, Anniversary, and they were just all different shades of the same thing, essentially.
I kind of have this perverse desire that, like, once we're done here, and when I'm making my dinner, that I'm just gonna try and find and stick on Rise of the Tomb Raider and just watch you play the opening scene of that, having just played this.
Yeah.
And just like the phrase night and day.
What? I've got nothing.
Here's a big shout for you as well, right? So.
Oh, well, okay. You want to start jumping sideways? Sure, be my guest.
I'm going to give you some hot takes here.
Alright, go on then.
Whereas I think that Uncharted 4 is a better crafted story, I think I had more fun playing Rise of the Tomb Raider than Uncharted 4.
Well, here's the thing. From what I know of Uncharted, I see it as like a bunch of elaborate set pieces with, you know, try.
No, I'm really not.
Please.
What? No, because I haven't been playing the game to this point. It's just we're just gonna have more of this.
You know what? You can't do any fucking worse than I'm doing right now. Where was I? Yeah, like Uncharted for me feels like a bunch of elaborate set pieces, very nicely crafted set pieces. But set pieces are nice.
Try once just running.
I'm gonna.
Yeah. Look at her go! Like it's God. It's so unforgiving. Like it's closed, isn't it? It's just closed. No. If you had gotten the jump first time, you would have done it.
Okay, we'll try that.
Yeah.
This is a way to spend our Tuesday evening.
I'll tell you what.
Jesus.
It's a shame again that like Xbox is shite for picking up our microphones.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not doing a fucking playthrough of this game. Jesus Christ.
The thing that bogs Uncharted games down for me is that it's some incredible set pieces that I would love more of, and some incredible open world shit that I would love more of, but it constantly feels the need to come back to big cover based shootouts.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like playing through the first Uncharted, sweet Jesus Christ, that's over with. Playing through the first Uncharted, like it's just that. And it's not particularly good cover-based shooting, considering like in a post-Gears of War world.
I will say Uncharted 4 is the best the combat's ever been, because there's some real cool shit you can do in it.
Yeah.
But still, it's... Whereas in... There's a certain extent to which it just, the combat feels more satisfying in Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Get a feeling we're going down here.
Where it genuinely feels like you're crafting items just to stay alive.
Yeah.
Whereas Nathan Drake, I think to a certain extent, feels like fucking Superman.
Yeah. You know, it'd be really good. If I could fucking see down there.
Like when you do the melee kills in Rise of the Tomb Raider, and you know those picks for when you're climbing on ice?
Yeah.
When you're legitimately digging those into people's throats.
Good times.
It's fucking great. And also you have one of the things that the soft reboot does really well, I think, is rather than Uncharted, which is just Nathan Drake seems to go from bawdy adventurer to one of history's great serial killers without really batting an eyelid.
Yeah.
Whereas the first couple of times Lara kills somebody in the new Tomb Raider games, like, she's full on fucking traumatized by it.
Well, I think like one of the things I remember hearing as a complaint against that is like it plays up to that for the first couple, but by the end of the game, she is as full on like serial killer as well.
She's definitely killing lots of people, but there's always much more of a vibe than in the Uncharted games that you're doing it to survive, rather than doing it because we want to do fun stuff with guns.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, a door has opened. So far, we've had the same puzzle basically 3 times of door open. Well, I missed 3 of the secrets. Exit without saving. How long did that take me? 23 minutes. Jesus fucking Christ. We'll go for another 10 minutes or so.
It's not a record time for you, is it?
I don't think I'm winning any quick play events or anything, or speed runs.
I think I really want to go grab Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah?
Yeah, just see what you think. I didn't realise you hadn't played it, but then that makes sense. You were sort of in China at the time, and...
Oh, hello. Jesus Christ.
And still 100% don't have an Xbox One.
Yeah, very much there is that. Alright, where did that prick go?
And it's worth saying that Rise of the Tomb Raider, the most recent Tomb Raider game, is out on PlayStation now.
It certainly is. Look at you being a shill.
I genuinely do think it's a game that everybody needs to play.
Yeah.
I think it's probably better than the original 3 Uncharted games for me.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on what you want from the game, it could be better than Uncharted 4 for you.
Tell you what, there's going to be some fanboys out there that won't be happy with
Uncharted 4, I still insist, because it's what Naughty Dog do best. I still think their crafting of story is leagues ahead. In Uncharted 4, I think it tells a great story, which kept me coming back when the endless gun battles were kind of fucking me off a bit.
Yeah.
But I remember Rise of the Tomb Raider being particularly Moorish, where I was playing Uncharted and I was still going back playing like a bit of FIFA or something like that.
No.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, I remember I was house sitting for my grandmother and I went and took the Xbox with me and played nothing else until I beat it.
I just want to hear what she says here.
No.
Alright. Do you know what this reminds me a lot of, actually? Is my final major project at uni.
I'm going to say this one time I went on holiday and it got super weird.
Jesus. Well, yeah, that as well. No, just like a lot of kind of corridors and square cube based geometry, because that was about as all I was good at the time. Although mine was made in Unreal.
Although in fairness, you were as good at the time as an entire studio was in 1996. So there's some perspective there.
Sure. Like, that's just like probably the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Yeah. Also, you're a cunt. I need to even that out. Can't let you get carried away with yourself.
I mean, 1916 is fair.
Yeah. Also making up for what I assume was a burial of me on Away Goals podcast.
No, not in the slightest.
Oh, really?
No.
I was assuming the narrative was going to be that I'd gone into hiding after the 4-0.
Actually, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. But that was on Jack, not me.
Yeah. I may stay in hiding based on the city match tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess we're going down here.
Look at that water. Genuinely, I think the water in Minecraft looks better. Trollaball.
Now, so far, this actually doesn't handle too bad in terms of the swimming mechanics, which is... I say that, and now she's just
stopped.
What are you doing, woman?
What were you doing first? There you go.
Alright, it's... Jesus Christ, what is going on here?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. That wasn't the surface at all. You're gonna drown. I think you turned the wrong way.
Well, cock and balls. Come on. Well, tell you what, she can get some air in those lungs.
Come on, Mark. It'll just be insta death as soon as that's empty. Oh, he just made it.
Mate, had it covered. Now get the fuck out of here. Ah, insta dry clothes. Handy. Oh, and we're back in.
Good work, man.
I can't even begin to describe to you how the fuck these swimming mechanics work. Okay, right.
I like the way as well that this... already noticing that the game just has a mishmash of styles of architecture going on. We were very much in Aztec ruins moments ago, and that is like full-on Greek mosaic down there in that pool.
Yeah, I was thinking like...
And I have no idea what the shit is going on with the snakes.
I was thinking like the Roman baths.
That either, yeah.
Well,
what are you fucking doing?
I've been asking that question for a number of years now.
I'm getting too existential for you, am I?
What the fuck am I meant to do here?
Fuck off, maybe?
Maybe.
Oh, wait. Is it something to do with, do you need to shove them to be facing certain directions?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean...
It's not run into the pillar, I'll tell you that.
in terms of controls, that seems like a thing that will be very difficult to do.
Is there any way to interact with them at all?
Nope.
Okay. And there's literally nothing else in this room behind either of those pillars.
Doesn't look like it. I think I've got the swimming figured out now. Do you want to know a game that, like, the swimming almost ruins it?
What?
Is Conker's Bad Fur Day. The swimming in that can suck so many dicks.
That's how you really feel.
Yep.
That was the cat.
That was the cat.
I wonder what he knocked down. I'm going to turn around and be real mad now. Somehow, it was the whiteboard.
The whiteboard?
Which is elevated, listeners, about 6 foot off the ground. Nowhere near anything that you can climb on. Well, I imagine what he did was he got up on the counter and launched himself at the wall.
Well, there's like a little diagram of a cat on it, so maybe he was really offended.
No, I was thinking, I wonder, is he smart enough? Because he tries to trick us into thinking he hasn't been fed by crying like he's hungry. Has he figured out that we write something on the board and he's just trying to rub out where I've written that I fed him?
I kind of hope that's the case. Bum.
Might have something to do with this.
Bum.
There you go.
Now can I get back there without drowning? That doesn't help. Oh boy. Again, the camera's just having a fit. But also, again, like as we've just pointed out, the camera is very much fixated on a particular area.
Mm-hmm. Even the particular swimming stroke that she uses is
one that shows off.
It accentuates the crotch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I found a secret.
So this isn't actually taking you where you're supposed to go.
Nope.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. So if I press start, I get a pause menu. If I press select or the share button on my controller, what do we got? We got pistols, magnum clips, small medi, and a compass.
Cool.
That doesn't help at all.
Well, you'd have to know where you were going to have the compass help.
Well, you know, I think I've had enough of these controls.
Have you?
Yeah.
I'll go make some sausage burgers for myself.
I've kind of embarrassed myself playing the original Tomb Raider, but it's kind of...
You could say 1996 has embarrassed itself. Try and
Um,
save some face.
well, yeah. I mean, there was that semi-finals against Germany. Bants. Anyway, this has been our celebration, the 20th anniversary of Tomb Raider.
Celebration, burial.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. I've been Mark Robinson.
I will say, before you finish signing off, if you think the game's never got any better or more playable than this, you are wrong. Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's a fucking great game. I love it so much. Now continue, sorry. I gotta go start looking for Rise of the Tomb Raider.
I've been Living Projects, he's been Dave Ryan, Ivy. This is Linktothecast. We will see you again next time.
Boom boom.